Could also be time to go back to bed. But right now it's time for coffee. Cat's asleep. Want to be asleep. It's all right. 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Wednesday, January 20th, 2021. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. Yeah, I had no idea what day it was. Getting momentum going in the morning can be hard, right? Get up out of bed and maybe go. I don't hit the snooze bar. That's not entirely true. But when I get up, and I'm ready to go. My snooze bar. I've got one of those lights, clocks that lights up, and it's got an alarm as well. Good morning, Andrew. And when the light goes on, I've got 30 minutes left. So that does its thing. I get up, I turn off the light, and then I wait until it actually makes the noise. Why do I do that? Because I have another 30 minutes to sleep. I don't want to get up at 5:15. Why don't I set it to go off later so the light comes on sooner? Because sometimes I sleep so hard that I don't wake up until I hear it. So between the two, between that variability, it's kind of how I have to do it. That last 30 minutes feels like bonus time anyway. It's not really a bad thing. Get up. Come out here, have some water. Feed the cat. Do my morning stuff. There's some morning affirmation kind of jazz that I do. And it sets the tone for the day. It's good. My coffee's way too hot. I can't even taste anything. And then I sit down and I talk to all of you. It's a good way for me to start my day. Well, speaking of days, let's talk about yesterday. Yesterday was a pretty great day. Worked on the book. I'm down to like 14 pages that I have to edit, and I am planning on knocking those out today. I'm gonna finish those. Then Andrew and I recorded a couple episodes. We talked about some things around the show. Just things are going really well. Next, what happened? Did some work. Had a call with, not a call, had a interview with somebody. It was a wonderful episode. I had a lot of fun talking to this person in the afternoon. Went to the DMV. Spent far less money than I had expected. I was expecting like $500-600 to get the new car all dealt with. $205. What was it? $205. They transferred my registration. Went so much easier than I thought. I have to say, good morning, other Andrew. 2 Andrews. The DMV good morning, Stacy. The DMV becomes one of those cliches for inefficiency and rigid upholding of the rules and just frustration. That has never been my experience at the Vermont DMV. We have the kindest people, and I never have to wait that long. I had an appointment today. They're only doing appointments right now, so I walked in. I was in and out in less than 15 minutes. It was awesome. And so then what did I do? My friend who fixed the plumbing a couple weeks back, I don't know if you remember that, had some sink issues. He was exposed to COVID, and he said, here's what I'm needing. Gave me the financial piece, and then he said, since I'm stuck in the house, if you wouldn't mind grabbing me a bottle of whiskey. And the liquor store is right near the DMV, so I went over and I grabbed a bottle of, I expected it to be nice whiskey. Nope, this liter bottle was $30. So then I went to the gym, came back, put the money in the whiskey in a bag on his porch and chatted to him from afar. And he feels fine. Everything's fine. He's gonna be all right. But I got a lot done. I talked to great people. I had a good workout. Like it just, there aren't a lot of things that I need to have a good day. I need movement, and I need to be around other people. I need to talk with them, and I need to feel like I accomplished something. I checked all those boxes. And so we're hoping to do the same thing today. Finish the book, got the finances I got to get through. Cat gets acupuncture. Client call. I have a dental cleaning. The last time I had a dental cleaning, they went, "Oh, look, you have a cavity," which turned into a lot of expensive dental work. And it was for this tooth, which in theory can never have a cavity again. So we should be good to go. Fingers crossed. Because that was far more expensive than I wanted. Because I wanted it to be 0. And it was much more than 0. But, at the same time, I'm mildly excited for a dental cleaning because it's indicative of some things in my life becoming a little more normal. I am sure that this dental office is going to have extreme protocols. They're probably going to show up in radiation suits. Last I knew, they were installing like this crazy expensive air filtration system from Europe. Stacy says they're much, much, much more than 0, but good folks, yeah. The place that did my dental work here, Stacy's familiar with. Because it's Vermont, and we all go to the same doctors. I don't think people fully understand how small Vermont is. 630,000 people in the whole state. And if you think about where I live, the town I live in, our capital is 8,000 people. You know everybody. And if you don't know everybody, somebody you know knows that person. And if they don't, they just moved here. And no McDonald's, that's right. Montpelier, Vermont is the only state capital with no McDonald's. And I think it's the oldest really unmodified state capital. Something about the legislative chambers haven't been changed in like forever or something like that. But it's fun to be in such a small area. I like knowing people. That's not true, Andrew. We do have a Target now. We have a mini Target. We have a little Target in Burlington now. We were the last state without a Target. Yeah, it's about a quarter the size of what you would expect. It's kind of like we used to have the world's smallest JCPenney. And what was I going to say? When I was talking with the guest yesterday afternoon, we started throwing out some names. We know all the same people. And this won't be super fun because this story is not going live. After we closed the interview, he told me a couple other stories that we didn't get to during the interview. They didn't fit into the flow. And he starts telling me one about a past guest. And I started laughing because I've heard of this story. Other people have told me the story, and he was the one that did the thing that they talked about. That's how small martial arts is. That's how small martial arts in New England is, especially. I started throwing out names, and he knew, we knew some of the same people. It's one of the things I love about it. So, For any of you who I talk to offline, I would be happy to share the bits of that story that I can share. But what I like about it, what I like when we have that bit of kind of side discussion, is it reinforces to me that people we have on the show are real people, and martial arts has made an impact on them. We hear the real, the formal, the lights are on, so to speak, while they're, while I'm talking to them. But then when I'm just chatting with them after, and this happens with most interviews, I usually have some conversation with people after the fact. Sometimes it's 5 minutes, sometimes it's an hour. Depends on our schedules and how interesting they are. But when the lights go down, you get the real person. And you get to see who they really are, and I get to see the difference between who they were during and after. And most people aren't that different. Most of the people we bring on the show are them, and that's what you get is them. And I think that's pretty cool. Stacy says, I was part of a crew that helped wrap Master Twing's car with saran wrap at a summer camp. Epic evening. Master Twing was, he's unfortunately passed away, was my Taekwondo instructor's Taekwondo instructor. A man that I never met, though we've interviewed his son on the show. I've gotten to know his wife, his widow, I guess, is the more proper term, and a number of people who knew him. I would have loved to have known him. Everything points to him being a great guy and a great martial artist. And this is the sad thing. We keep, people will continue to die. Martial artists will continue to die. I will not be able to talk to all of them. Their stories, for some, when we think of, here's a great example, like Dan Inosanto. Would love to have him on the show. I'm not super concerned about losing his stories because so many people have interviewed him and talked to him and know his stories. But there are other people who are less prominent, who have less of a following. And some of them have had a substantial contribution to the martial arts, maybe not globally, but regionally. Or they started a school and taught a person who went on to change the face of martial arts in some way. And their stories are dying because people aren't chronicling them. And that makes me sad. So that's why I invite everyone to nominate people that we can talk to, that we can have on the show and get their stories down for posterity. It's important. The Wikipedia of martial arts stories. That's what we'll be. All right. Let's move on. Let's see what you all wrote in. I know I saw some stuff from Stacy and Frank. All right. Got a couple quotes from Stacy and a few more from Frank. I'm going to start with Stacy's. Heroism is endurance for one moment more. Ooh, George F. Kennan. Heroism is endurance for one moment more. You ever, well, I think of things like having to hold a horse stance for a long time, or being exhausted at my first black belt test. I didn't come up with more examples, but you probably get the point. If you think about, wow, I've got to do this for another, hour, day, or whatever, it's too long. It's too difficult to wrap your mind around. But what if I just say, okay, 10 more seconds. I'm just going to focus on the next 10 seconds. Okay, I got through that. I get through the next 10. I get through the next moment. I can get through the next breath. Being present to a certain degree, is just that. You're letting everything else go. Where am I right now? Do what you can with what you have, where you're at that moment. We could possibly add that piece on. Andrew says, you always have energy for just one more. I agree. And do that, and do that 100 times, yeah. Now, there may be points where there are consequences or, something fails. But if the carrot in front of you is big enough, here's a great example. I talk about going to the gym and lifting weights. And one of the reasons I like that as an example is because it's pretty objective. Can I pick up this thing that weighs this amount of weight this number of times, right? It's pretty cut and dry versus, let's say, a push-up, which the majority of people do terribly. You don't start your punches from here. Don't only bring your push-ups to there. When I travel and I teach, I make people do full push-ups, and I show them why. But let's say I've got, I'm doing a bench press. I'm laying on my back, pushing that weight up. Most people know what that looks like. Let's say I get to 10, and it's hard, and I'm ready to put it down. Could I do one more? Yeah. Could I do one more, but it's really difficult? Probably. How difficult is it if someone offers me some kind of reward? I will give you $1 million if you do one more. I'm going to find a way. That motivation, that I'm going to find a way. Sometimes that's how you need to approach other things. I'm tired, I need to go to bed, but I have this work to do. Time to find a way. Time to find your motivation. That's why the why becomes so important with everything that we do. If you don't know why, how are you going to do it? The what, the when, the how, in most cases matters far less than the why. Find your why. Why do you train? Why do you work? Why do you do anything? The better you understand your why, the better everything else will go. Why do I get up early and do this show? Because I love whistlekick. I love what we're doing. I love the growth that we're having. The cat is licking the floor. I have no idea what's on the floor. I got our cat. But don't lick it. It's weird. Next. One more from Stacy. Be willing to be a beginner every single morning. Meister Eckhart. I like that. White belt mentality. Why is being a beginner important? Why is that mindset so critical? Because that's the point where you learn the most. It's the point of the most humility and the most opportunity for growth. How do you bring that mindset into everything? You assume you don't know anything. If you've only trained in one martial art, if you've only put a white belt on that one time, I would encourage you to do it again. Even as an exercise, even temporarily, even if it's just for a few weeks. Because there is such a powerful lesson in that you can bring to absolutely everything you do. I love being a white belt. I love attending seminars, even non-martial arts stuff. And just saying, all right, I'm going to assume I don't know anything. Teach me. I am an open book. Well, you're an open book. I'm a white belt. Teach me. Teach me marketing. Teach me SEO. Teach me Taekwondo. Teach me any of it. I want to learn. I am a sponge. Who was I talking to? I was talking to somebody the other day. It was one of my clients. And he was talking about something going on. He was talking about his testosterone was low. Or he felt like his testosterone was low. And it sounded like he was, kind of looking for confirmation from me as someone who he sees as being a pretty healthy person, that he should go get some, exogenous testosterone, some kind, a patch or injections or whatever. And I was like, ashwagandha. Try ashwagandha. And after I explained it to him, he made some comment about how I know a lot about different stuff because I have this white belt mentality. Most people go into life staying in their lane, right? How often have you heard that? Stay in your lane. If you're this, do this. If you're that, do that. And it's about division, and it's about furthering competency. I just want to learn everything about everything. I can have an intelligent discussion on just about any subject. And if I can't, I'm going to shut up and listen. I'm not going to make stuff up. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to learn. I love learning. Learning doesn't only have to happen in school. Learning can happen anytime. Learning can happen from watching a movie or a TV. And we've got these wonderful tools available to us. Sitting down watching a movie at home, and they mention a thing. Look up that thing. They mention a country in a geopolitical situation. That's why I have maps all around. I will pause that movie and get up, and I will go and I'll look at my map of Europe or my map of the world and try to understand, why would these two countries be in conflict? Take a look at the world. I don't know if you know what's going on. I'm showing you a map that you can't see. But if you look at a map of the world, it looks like Russia is trying to build land access to Iran. I think that's what's going on between Azerbaijan and Armenia. I think that's what's happening there. Do I have any basis for that other than just logic? Nope. Open your ears, learn, be a white belt. And our quotes from Frank. Today is Inauguration Day. Let's take a look at some quotes from past presidents. I am not going to get political today, tomorrow, regardless of what happens today. That's not entirely true. Well, I won't get political. I am hoping that we don't have a repeat of the 6th. My fingers are crossed. 1. It is amazing what you can accomplish if you do not care who gets the credit. Harry Truman. I've said publicly numerous times, if somebody popped up out of nowhere with better resources and tried to do what whistlekick is doing, I would applaud them. I would support them. I would help them. Heck, I might try to merge whistlekick with what they're doing. What are we trying to do? Grow the martial arts. Increase participation. That's what we're trying to do. I don't care if I'm known for that. If I had the option of achieving that goal of everyone in the world training for at least 6 months, but I had to get struck by a bolt of lightning and fade into anonymity, in a heartbeat. No problem. Because I believe it would make the world that much better. I don't care if I get credit for what we do. I really don't. I just think it needs to get done. Use power to help people. For we are given power not to advance our own purposes, nor to make a great show in the world, nor a name. There is but one just use of power, and it is to serve people. George W. Bush. Think of the power that we have as martial artists. We have physical power, our techniques that we can use to defend ourselves and the people that we care about. But we also have a mental power, a discipline, an ability to show up to whatever we do in the world and bring that passion to it, whatever it is. Someday, I hope to commission a study that proves there is a correlation between time involved in martial arts and some of the more subjective, well, I guess objective metrics that people use to determine success. such as wealth or lifespan or, I don't know, those are two good ones to throw out. Right? I believe that we would be able to see that. Not necessarily that there isn't a tipping point. I think there probably is. You know, a few years of martial arts probably gives the benefit on that, on those fronts that I just think that's what we would find. Is it snowing again? UPS showed up in my driveway at like 10 o'clock. I applaud them for working late. But it weirds me out when I hear a truck in my driveway while I'm sleeping. I don't like that. Next. The test of leadership is not to put greatness into humanity, but to elicit it, for the greatness is already there. James Buchanan. James Buchanan. There we go. The test of leadership is not to put greatness into humanity, but to elicit it, for the greatness is already there. What does a leader do? Brings the best out in people. What is the role of a martial arts instructor? To foster the growth of the students, aka to bring out the best in them. A coach brings out the best in someone. These are concepts we've explored on the show. These are things I've talked about for years. A great leader fosters great followers into great action. How to be a great leader is a complex subject and not one that I feel qualified to speak on. I am just figuring out how to be a competent leader, far from a great one. I'm more of a lead by example person. I want you to work hard, I'm gonna work hard. That's how I do it. Is that the best way? No, it's not. But I'm learning. I'm getting better as a leader. And this might be one of, I think when we think about short quotes, this is one of Lincoln's most famous. Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. Being prepared, being aware that this is also a quote about attention to detail. I don't believe that those numbers were chosen arbitrarily. Lincoln was a powerful speaker. And when you look at something like the Gettysburg Address, which a lot of us had to memorize in school, 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Might be able to keep going, but I'm not going to. If you look into that speech, it's all very simple words, at least for the day. These were not complex phrases, but the way he arranged the words was very intentional. They were powerful, and it led to not just words that you heard, but a feeling. So if we take that quote, if I had 6 hours to chop down a tree, I would spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. What is he saying there? Preparation is critical. Extensive preparation is very important. If we want to think about that quote as it applies to martial arts, what's the use of the axe? That would be sparring, free-form self-defense, a fight on the street, a fight in a competition. What are the first 4 hours? The sharpening the axe. What's that? Those are your basics. Those are your fundamentals. There's nothing more fundamental in the use of an axe than the sharpness of the edge. You're not going to spend the time practicing your swing. You're going to tire out. Don't underestimate the value of fundamentals, of basics, and how they apply to everything that we do. You want to get better at martial arts? Work on your basics. Your basics are literally the foundation of everything you do. If you get better at throwing a punch or a kick, everything else gets better. Look at the best martial artists. They have great basics. So, all right. Good stuff today. I hope you have a great day. I hope that you have a productive, healthy, happy day. There's a lot of tension in the air here in the U.S. today. And I am hopeful. And I will remain hopeful. I will do my best to remain positive. And I hope that you all do as well. And either way, no matter what happens today, as with every day, no matter what happens, I will see you back here tomorrow, because we will do another episode of First Cup. And I hope that you will leave me some questions and comments. And we'll talk. Okay? Have a good one, everybody. Take care. Peace.